tell everyone who you are and what you do.
Used to not looking at my camera positions are all different now. The new venue. I am the owner, founder of Delta V Esports, an esports and gaming talent development organization, and I've been gaming since 1978, and I've been streaming since March. Is something I've been personally taking a stab at for different reasons, and that's kind of it.
Awesome, man. What got you into esports?
So like I said, since 1978. 1978, I got I was 14 or 15, and my uncle got me the Atari for home TV game station, which was essentially Pong. And ever since then, I was a in the early and mid 80s, I was a whatchamacallit, not I'm thinking Game Center. My mind with all these, I was an arcade junkie. And so heavily into pinball. Then I got into Asteroids and Galaga were my games. And then obviously 1985-ish, Nintendo came out with the console. And then from there on, I have owned and played with my, 6 kids, my family, everything that has ever come out. Got into PC gaming. Doom was my huge, really first big push into that. And then for the last few years, I've just been watching esports as an industry, right? Meaning what's happening in the industry that at the level of sports entertainment. And so I started seeing what was happening there and super excited that we have the things that are happening. By the same token, I realized in talking with a lot of people in the industry that we do not, the element of talent development is a vacuum of non-existent opportunity for the most part. Nothing that's really cohesive and structured. And so I came up with the idea of saying, hey, listen, we can have a development pathway that works for everyone and does things the right way, so that if you want to have a career or income, part-time or full-time in gaming and esports, then we're going to build those pathways to get there. All of us see all the 1%, the venues, the stadiums, like I'm in now here at the Esports Stadium, Arlington, and all the teams and all the players. I mean, Optic Gaming is doing a commercial in the stadium right now. We all see that, but everyone else, the majority of people that want to get to where those opportunities are, don't know how to do that clearly, and that's where we come in.
Oh man, that's awesome. And like we've previously talked before, and I've watched your live streams. You said you started off with fitness. You owned a fitness company. Like, when you saw the opportunities in esports, are you saying like that it's very profitable in the future, in the long run, because we're trying to organize like how we do fitness? Because the fitness is like on that health rave right now, especially with COVID going on. So when you look at esports, you see esports being on the same level as like actual sports. Like you got MMA, UFC. Do you think esports is going to get on that kind of tier?
Bigger. It will surpass every traditional sport on the planet and every fitness kind of thing. Yes, I did. In 2009, when the economy crashed, and you can go see the whole, the founder of CrossFit did our story. It's the Rob Davis story. If you want to see all that sappiness that went on. I started a CrossFit affiliate in my garage in 2009. By 2000, about 18 months later, I went from my garage to another small facility, then to a 15,000 square foot facility. And I've worked at the CrossFit Games as a team lead for years. I've worked at regionals as a team lead for years. I've been an athlete in CrossFit. I've been an affiliate owner, one of the biggest at the time in the world. And what I recognized when you mentioned fitness, and I know you understand the fitness world, CrossFit had an impact, snuck up on the fitness industry in a way that no one anticipated. And there's not a single aspect of fitness anywhere in the world that I've ever come across that isn't influenced by CrossFit, whether they have alpha training facility or the methodologies or something, because it for several reasons. One, it was built on community. Two, it delivered results that had been unmatched. And three, Greg Glassman actually quantified the measurement. Who are the fittest people in the world? Now, when you talk, so I'm taking that model and we're bringing it to the world of esports. When you ask how big esports is going to be compared to traditional sports, I will tell you this: esports and gaming are going to be the biggest industry in the world and most admired industry in the world within 20 years. And I think it's actually going to be much sooner than that. But let's step that back a little bit and say, why do I say something like that? Well, first of all, right now, the BBC News last week put out an article on their website talking about It's 52% of the world's or 52% of spending on entertainment. Okay, 52% of all entertainment spending is spent on video games and gaming and esports. That means that it's more, ready? It's more than TV, film, and music combined. Okay, 53% of the world's population play video games. Now, what's happening is we've seen across the boards over time, attendance at traditional sporting events, attendance, viewership at traditional sporting events is all declining. And I think it was, I think the CEO of Logitech said this, and I think there was an article in the New York Post a couple of years ago. I don't remember exactly what it was, saying that think about this, for every traditional sports fan that dies today, 2 esports fans are born. So there's absolutely no question. All of the data indicates, and if you have any kind of common sense around what's happening and what you're seeing, esports will surpass. Now, I'm not saying football is going away, and I mean, for example, if you take soccer, football, I mean, that still dominates in terms of world attention and money. But it's dinosaurs once ruled the earth too. So it's changed. Times are changing. Stuff's happening.
This is true because if you think about all the sports people, even hip hop stars, rappers are moving over to playing a lot of esports games. Like Ninja played with a lot of other rappers and football players. You got Dr. Disrespect playing with what was it, Odell Beckham. So there are like transitions with both worlds.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you look at, for example, if you say look at what Epic has done with Fortnite in cross-platforming every industry, right? Soccer, baseball, football, Marvel, DC, musicians, right? Marshmello, all these other people, that has bridged gaps in industries like nothing else has ever done before, besides maybe Steve Jobs and the things he did with Apple in all 5 industries. That is if you just look at the common sense part of it, you say something's percolating here, something's happening. This because every NFL, not every NFL player, but let's be honest, most professional athletes, college athletes, at some time in their day play video games as well, right? So there's mass appeal, and of course, when technologies continue to advance, when places like India have the bandwidth on internet and mobile gaming obviously is on the huge uptick, right? Because it's super easy. It is literally going to be the biggest and most admired industry in the world, not just on the consumption side of it, right? Not just playing video games. I was having this discussion with someone last week. The consumption of it is what drives all the other things, right? We consume movies, but the movie industry is full of, lighting and cameramen and directors and writers and legal teams and, go on and on and on and on. That scope is going to be amplified to a much bigger scale in what happens in gaming and esports. And I separate those two, gaming and esports.
Yeah. Why do you separate them?
Well, because gaming is in and of itself. For example, you mentioned Ninja, right? Tyler is a gamer first, right? Now he made his big name he can be a streamer playing games, is what I'm saying here, without ever competing. Now he does compete. Maybe Tim the Tap Man's a little bit better example. He competes in local tournaments, but he's not part of an esports team, right? Esports is the 1%. Esports are the amazing stadiums like the one that I'm at here in Arlington, the ones that are happening around the world. Esports is the 1% of activity that we all that's the sizzle. And so, franchises that are tens of millions of dollars to be a part of, teams and rosters that are extensive. I mean, that is professional sports entertainment, right? It's why the Jerry Jones and the Ray Davises, are coming into esports. They understand sports entertainment at a very high professional level, and they do it incredibly well. Gaming can be anything. You can be a part of gaming, be a streamer, produce content, do all kinds of things, and never ever compete. So they're two very specific things. Esports is always going to be, from the lowest level, small local land tournament all the way up to, events that take place here. But I separate them because of that. You don't have to be in esports to enjoy gaming, have a career, have income, make a lifestyle. Same way, esports is gaming, so it's kind of built in there.
Yeah. And here's a off the wall question. Like with COVID, do you think COVID made becoming a streamer or getting into esports harder because everyone's at home?
So I think those are two things. That's a good question. I would say that COVID has had obviously a massive ramp up in people not able to go places. I think I'll try streaming, right? So there's this huge uptick of people that are giving it a try. When COVID breaks and we can go back to, the activities and events and things, I think you'll see a huge plummet, because the people that are trying streaming, as an example, are finding that it's a business, that it's difficult, that you have to do a lot of things right to succeed at it. On the effect on the esports side, so that, again, that's a separate kind of a thing. COVID has had a crushing blow on the esports side in the sense of coming to big events, having big, right? Because I think the League of Legends World Championships this year were supposed to be at the Nest in China again, right, at the Olympic facility there. When you're not able to do those kinds of things, then that is financially a big blow to the industry. Now, that being said, everyone adapts. The biggest thing for me is everyone has to adapt, right? So when we talk about, you're seeing a lot of virtual things and a lot of reorganizations of thought as to how to move esports forward. And so I think for that reason, it's been incredibly positive for the esports world to get outside of just going to big venues and having big events. What else can we do? And I'm looking right over here at the old Texas Rangers Stadium. The other one's kind of behind me, the new one, or AT&T Stadium. These venues are not filled the way that they need to be filled, but they're working on doing other things, and esports is no different. So I'm really excited to see some of that evolution and then combine that with what's going to happen when we get back to big events.
Oh yeah, I believe that too, because like for me personally, streaming has been a weird life, because streaming has been a passion. I have a community as well as yours. I've seen your growth, and actually you've been motivating a lot of the people that's around in my life. And that's why I had to put you on here, because our views and things that we're doing is a very same. Like, we're very close. And when it comes to marketing, with COVID going on, everyone's at home, and the biggest thing I see people saying that works for marketing is TikTok. And the person that I see doing it very well is you. I tried TikTok. It isn't working for me all that well. I still got to adapt and learn. What would be your advice to those people that are having troubles on TikTok?
Keep testing. Keep testing. So what really, it was not really an unfair advantage, because it's irrelevant now. But I put out, so tomorrow I announced the winner of this giveaway, the streaming package giveaway that I announced a while ago. And that video has almost 1 million views, and it blew up, and there was a lot of stuff that happened from that. Now, since that doesn't hit the For You page, I think, very often. I've got a couple other videos that now have gone over 100,000 views. I'm going to hit 40,000 followers. This is all within less than 3 months. And so when I make these points, when I say this is what's happening, I don't say that in a way that is magic. I say that in a way that I relentlessly test. I do, for example, if I do this angle, this location, this lighting, if I do this length of video, if I use music, I don't use music. If I use, right, you go through this whole process of seeing what gets traction. I never worry about when people talk about, well, let's manipulate the algorithm and whatnot. I'm not a mathematician. I'm not smart enough to outsmart an algorithm. What I can do, though, is begin to see what does trend in terms of behavior, and then do what's unique to me in that. Here's one thing I would say when people do have frustrations is that, number one, you do have to test. Constantly keep putting stuff out there. And like for me, for example, 15-second videos has been key. And I found I get much more traction with that. But I also think there's a really important key to understand here, and that is when it comes to something like TikTok, I devour the comments. And then I get into other people's TikTok pages when people are succeeding, and I see what they're talking about. I don't know if that plays into the algorithm and the fact that there's engagement and discussion going on. I'm sure it does to a degree, because obviously algorithms are predictive tools. They want to know, where people are going, where they're staying, to keep them on the platform. So that being said, it's really just testing. I just relentlessly put stuff out. You're going to see a lot more content now that we're in this facility, headquartered in this facility. You're going to see a lot more content coming out, and I'm going to test if 10 videos a day are good, or if 2 are good, or 20 are good. So the answer, a lot of people give up on TikTok or any platforms because they don't immediately get the results they think they should be getting, or they perceive other people are. And some of it's just pure volume, right? I mean, if someone has 10 videos out versus someone that has 800, And by virtue of the fact that you put so many out, you just get better at it.
Yeah.
Right. And so the reason that platform is so good and so solid right now is simple. It's an organic growth ability, because with 2.5 billion downloads, you have relatively few people that are actually putting content out. And so that right there makes you grow exponentially. I would expect, and we can mark it from here now. I would expect that by the summer I'll have 1 million followers on TikTok if I do things right. And that's because it's not about me, it's about us as a community. And I think the message, that's the other thing too. I would say that you have to pick a message that's not, you can either be really entertaining on TikTok, which is the hardest. Like, it's the hardest, okay?
Yeah.
Or you can have a message that is valuable to a community. Like, I would pick a Scott D. Henry, right? He's like this guy that, if you don't know who he is, you should go check out his content. He's this kind of make you feel good, just, guy. He's real open, real honest, kind of a real sincere guy. Or if you consume Gary Vaynerchuk's, Gary V's content. I mean, you have to have a message that tends to be consistent. If you happen to be really entertaining, then great, but it's really, really, really tough.
Yeah.
Figure out a message, keep putting it out there, keep testing its results, and it'll happen. It happens.
So it's basically knowing your why.
Yeah, I mean, you have to, that's a big part of it. Everyone tunes into the radio station WIFM, right? What's in it for me? Anytime I put out content, I'm always thinking to myself, what am I delivering that answers the question of a viewer? What's in it for them? And so, sorry, my phone is blowing up. There's one message I'm just kind of make sure that I don't miss. I'm always interested in knowing how it benefits you. Anyone watching, what do they get out of it at the end of the day? What do they walk away with? Is it motivation? Is it instruction? Is it happiness? Is it they got a new tool that they can use and do something with? So you have to know, yes, what your why is, the why you're, the reason behind doing the things you're doing, but then the message has to be focused on everything that's of value to that viewer. If you're in it for ego or, hey, pats on the back or follows or likes, irrelevant. I mean, you're going to lose every time. You'll chase that forever.
Through that. So I also see that you sell product online for streamers, upcoming streamers, that you'd be helping them. Is that something that you're still doing? Because since you moved to this new facility, are you still going to be selling a product that helps other streamers?
So if you're talking, yes, I mean, so Delta V Esports and Street Nation are two different things. When COVID hit, we were ready. We were 2 weeks from opening the doors of our facility in Fort Worth, and we weren't able to. So we had to find a way to deliver our development content, which has always been the plan, online. So the answer is yes. We're gonna absolutely amplify. What Delta V Esports is a talent development organization. Not everyone, the vast majority of people are not going to be able to come to the stadium. So in that case, we have to be able to provide ongoing learning to an online audience. I mean, in my stream, my Twitch stream, I have people from all over the world, and obviously they're not going to be able to come here every day to be trained. So we will be training, working with players. Now, when I say players, I'm always a little hesitant. We're going to be doing something. We're not training pro level players, but player development. So development in these areas: player, coach, broadcaster, streamer, video producer, event coordinator, stream man or Discord management, the kinds of things that would actually, you can learn to get the right skills, the right approach, the right experience to be able to begin making money in any of those pathways. If you learn to be a great Discord community manager, and that's, you have someone who has a very big community, you can make money doing that, right? Running someone's Discord, doing it correctly, growing it. But you got to learn those skills and gain that experience. You want to be a coach, you want to be a streamer. So all of those pathways will be available in real life here at the stadium that we'll be announcing. We're working on all that this week, as well as that we'll push even more online content so that people can have those abilities to develop. So yes, that's all coming. It's what has always been the foundational piece of Delta V Esports until we have physical locations all over, just like in the CrossFit world. We'll have alpha facilities and affiliates worldwide from Delta V Esports.
I actually have a very high level of respect for that, just because it's like for streaming or even content creation for gamers, there's not a lot of learning. It's all about self learning. It's all about, all right, like I have to look up all these YouTube videos, I have to
Hmm.
learn myself, learn how to do it. But with how you're doing things, it gives them a mentor. There's a lot of people that need mentors, and I, in the Discord community that I'm a part of, that I have created, I've learned that there's, when it comes to the gaming community, you get different versions of people. You get like the nervous people, you get this, the people that are insecure or everything like that. And with mentors, and even myself or you, is molding them into believing in themselves and learning the tools to better be a streamer or a gamer. So I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I mean, we have to remember and understand that the how-tos, and I did a TikTok video on this a while ago, the how to become a streamer, all the how-tos are out there. What equipment to use based on your budget, how it's all there. But that's not the how-to isn't what keeps people going. People want to feel as though, they have a community that supports them, that they can hear people talk about all the same concerns, frustrations, worries, whatever. We're all having them. We all have issues, and that collectively, as the community, you are valued for your input, and you're also valued for what you take out of it. But then you got to have a structure, an advancing structure, right? Like the Patreon that I started for the streamers, which I haven't been able to put. I'll put some new content out today. I'm walking people through some very foundational steps as we pilot this, and then we'll start getting into very specific details. But let's be honest. No one needs to know. You can find how to do this, but you need to understand, you need to have the motivation and support when times are tough to continue doing it. That's the problem. And that's what we're building here. Local communities, international communities, communities that, our ecosystem of development in all these areas will be so interconnected that there's no way to fail unless you literally just unplug.
True. It's definitely the people aspect, because like you said, you can look up a video on how to set up and do anything, but if it's a community, dude, it's like when you talked about CrossFit blew up because it's a very tribal event. And
Absolutely.
and us humans are very tribal since the dawn of time, and
Absolutely.
the way we set up the gaming communities is tribal.
100%.
So
100%.
that's how myself.
Everyone wants to belong.
Yes, I
Right?
agree.
Everyone wants to be part of something. And people are asking, I have people that are surprised at how much traction I'm getting and how much attention. And I always say it's not about me. All I'm doing is opening up the valve, right, if you will, of tapping into people's, deep-seated emotions and passions for something that they love, like gaming and esports, telling them that it's okay and that in fact it's going to be massive. Oh, and by the way, we're going to help you get there. And so it's not like, I mean, I'm no kind of gaming or esports guru. I'm a community member that's been around gaming for a long time. I love it deeply. I think it's an amazing industry. It needs a lot of structure brought in. In the end, and that's what I tell people, this is our community. We're doing this, and that's part of the frustration people have had with I'm glad that all the 1% spending on great stadiums like this and teams and events is happening, and it's always going to happen. And I'm grateful for that. But in the end, gaming and esports is our community, and whatever we bring to it and take from it is a part of helping people understand it's critical. It's critical what you bring to it. It's critical what everyone brings. But this is our community. We're going to build it our way. That sense of belonging, and approval, is the real fuel behind the motor of what we're going to have happen.
True that. That's awesome. And I want to say that one of your biggest keys for your success as well is that glorious beard that you're repping.
It's got a ways to go. It's kind of at a rough stage. I committed to doing a yeared, which is growing a 1-year beard. I started April 1st. And so I really my wife's not a big fan. I actually like it. I think it's going to be, I think I'll probably try to take it unless I'm at terminal length. I may be at terminal length as an old guy. I'll probably take it a little bit longer, maybe another 4 or 5 inches.
Yeah, get that Viking beard going on.
There you go. Exactly.
I have that condition where my facial hair grows way too fast. So by Friday, my length will be as long as yours.
Do it. I love it. I love it.
So With all this esports, gaming, everything, how's your family take this? How's your family feel about it?
So it's that's a really interesting question. So my wife and I, we have 6 kids that we've raised in our 32 years of marriage. She's always known we've gamed. We just have always gamed. And of my 6 kids, 5 of them still game. My oldest daughter's married with 3 kids, and she doesn't. Her kids are very young, um, and so my wife has no understanding or comprehension of gaming and esports at the level that I'm talking about. Not her world, not her thing, but she's incredibly supportive of me. The rest of the kids, interestingly enough, so I have 4 boys and 2 girls, are all in one way, shape, or another wanting to come back into this world with things that they can do in their way. Everyone it's really interesting when you go from being just dad, right, to someone who's saying stuff that the world is paying attention to. And wow, now you're like dad, but people think you're cool or you're saying really cool stuff. And so it's been fun. I mean, everyone has been incredibly supportive. And I think if anyone knows me, it's probably because I don't have an ego in any of this. This isn't about me. It's not about, I'm not looking to get anything out of this other than open the pathways and help as many people as I can to live their dream in gaming and esports. That's my reward, right? That's at the end of the day when I'm like, I mean, listen, we all love, the kudos and the comments and, the people that support. And I will say this, it's really interesting. One of my sons who follows my TikTok, he told me the other day, he says, I'm always going through your comments because I get a lot of comments throughout the day. He says, you hardly ever have anyone negative. And that'll change. I mean, the more famous you become, you're just going to have that. But I think part of that is that my kids and family are so supportive because the message, and this is the part my wife really understands, is that I'm out to help change the world in the way that I can leave it behind, and everyone else can go on. I mean, I'm only going to be here another 51 years, so I got a lot to get done in that time. And that brings a lot of support. If I'm out here going, hey man, subscribe to my channel, donate, buy my merch, it's all about me. That's fine if that's your thing. It's just not my thing. And so they're incredibly supportive.
That's awesome. Has any of your kids voiced that they want to be a streamer?
I wish my youngest daughter would stream. They've all tried it at one point or another. It's my youngest daughter would probably be the most. She's 17. She is very talented trumpet player. She's in a local the Fort Worth Youth Symphony Orchestra. She's a very hard worker. When she gets on stream, plays Fortnite with her, or she gets on and plays Fortnite with one of her friends, everyone in our organization that's been around when she's done that is like blown away, crazy excited. Like, why is this girl not streaming? Because she goes nuts. So she's too busy to do it. But yeah, a couple of my other kids have tried it. But streaming requires a huge amount of discipline and a huge amount of commitment to make a living at it. And you have to be committed to the reasons behind it. So yeah, none of them are right now besides me. Well, that's not, I do have, one of my sons is getting ready to launch his streaming. We're doing something different. He's doing something in the music world. So he will be.
Yeah, just wait till Papa Street sets up the world, man, then your kids will follow.
It's going to be crazy.
It will be. I have a stepdaughter that plays Fortnite, and she'd be killing it on Fortnite. And she actually wants to start streaming because she sees me stream, and I gave her one of my Elgatos, so she'll be on there soon.
Nice.
So when it comes to all this esports and family, what is your daily life? How's everything going? Because I saw you used to stream in the morning and stream at night. How is your daily life now?
Okay, so for those that aren't aware, we are now headquartered in the Esports Stadium, Arlington, and our offices are in the back. If you look, here, this is where the stadium is, the actual stadium inside. This has been the LAN and gaming center back here. It is now, I'm going to use it as a development center. I'm going to completely end up consuming, this is where people will be able to come and train the ones that can physically be here. It's my daily life is, I've never been one to sleep a lot, but I only have one kid, our youngest daughter living at home. So it's my wife and I and our youngest daughter. I've always been a workaholic, so not much has changed um, in the sense of the amount of time that I put in. I will have, as soon as this week, we'll get all the stream elements figured out. We got a couple of things to get locked in with the change of management. Um, but I'll have a streaming schedule, and then we'll be doing development stuff here, IRL, throughout the days. So my days are long. I mean, I'm usually up by 7 at the latest. A lot of times I'm up at 2 or 3 in the morning because I just can't sleep, and I go work. I'm going to be here once we get the schedule set out. I usually try to be in bed, sleep by midnight or 1. And everything else, every minute of every day is built around getting this stuff in place to help the world of gaming and esports. And then in that, you can be successful in managing things you do with your family around that as well. I take Sundays off. Sunday is a day that I don't do anything except do things with my family. And so that's kind of my one release. But the other 6 days, as many things as I can pack into the hours that I'm moving and awake, I do.
That's awesome. So when everything hit, because like I believe this, speak it, believe it, achieve it. And what I see from you, and I found you, let's say about a month and a half ago, and I've literally been studying all your streams and how your things progress, and now you're in the stadium. It looks like a space station behind you. You're the NASA sergeant right now. So how did it feel when this all came to this point right here?
So I'll be honest with you. This is not a surprise. It's just the next step. I know exactly where we're going to be in 20 years. Delta V Esports will be the largest provider and developer of esports talent in the world. We'll be international. We'll be a $5 billion brand within 20 years. Everything that is happening has been already accomplished and done in my mind. It's now just a matter of just doing the work. So, and things have lined up. This was an amazing story. I've been talking with the people that are now running this for the last 3 months. The thing for me that is, it's very difficult at the highest level down to the daily nitty gritty. It's done for me. This is a done deal. I know where we're at in 20 years. It's just a step by step to get here. This is an amazing opportunity, not only for Delta V, Street Talk Leader Nation, but for the stadium as well, because of the things that we're going to do in rebuilding its reputation and its allure. But I mean, geez, come on, man. I get to sit and stream and
Looks like we lost him for a minute. There we go.
Are you there?
Yep, there we go.
Am I back?
You're back.
Okay. We do have like the GG Leap guys, and there's stuff going on behind the scenes here today. So the thing for me is it's all done. It's done. I know exactly where we're going to be. I don't know the exacts of how we're going to get there. I know that we are going to get there, and I have milestones, and so the expectation, nothing's a surprise. This isn't a surprise. I fully expected that these kinds of evolutions would take place. And so I just go day by day according to the long-term plan that I have, accomplishing the maximum amount that I can, and then different things are going to pop. Here's one thing I found, and as a guy my age, when you have enough clarity and enough energy and enough motivation and a hard work ethic, things will just amazingly appear in your path that will help you get there. It's the people that want to go out and say, hey man, can you help me do this, or can I get this, or will you do, no, I don't ever do that. What I do is I have a very clear plan with a very clear objective. I have milestones along the way, and I go work my face off to get there. And when that happens, amazing things will fall into place. And that's a lot of what gets missed, I think, by people, is that, there's no substitute for just good old-fashioned hard work. And then you combine that with a very clear objective at the end of a very well thought out plan, one that you can be adaptable in, you're going to succeed, because you can't help. The universe is just going to make sure you do.
This is true. I tell people all the time, everyone has greatness within inside them. It's their choice to attain it or not.
Yep. And most of that's just work and belief.
This is true. And with your amount of confidence that you just radiate, where do you pay respects to for that? Like, were you just born one day and as a baby went, I'm going to be the greatest person in the world? or
Well,
like, or
I don't
did you
know if I'm
learn it?
ever going to do that. I would say, so I was raised by a single mom and we never had a lot. We were pretty poor, but I always had enough to eat one way or another. And I would say that my mom instilled a work ethic in me that has been just a core of who I am. She was a very hard worker. And over the years, until her passing, she was always advancing her station from, a lot of years growing up. She was a waitress, and that's how we were supported. I was by myself a lot because she often worked at night, and I was a young kid, went to school in the day, and so she was just an incredibly hard worker that always knew how to figure out a solution to whatever problem came up. So that's number one. Number two, I would say that I have devoured hundreds and hundreds of books over the years, if not probably thousands, of every business world or any kind of leaders' biographies or autobiographies that have shown me, that I'm not a weird thinker, that I like someone kind of gets me, because I've always thought I was kind of broken in the way I saw the world and the things that you could actually do. And then, finally with gaming and esports, I mean, geez, come on. I mean, I've been involved in this since 1978, but the people that have come before and have laid some amazing foundations and done a lot of really hard work in creating orgs and creating, teams and creating, streaming, the ninjas, all the people that have done so much work before me. I'm just standing on those shoulders, and I have mad respect for everyone that has done that and is still doing that. So, I would say that if anything is accredited to me, it's simply my vision. Like I just view the world differently in the sense that we really do have the opportunity to do anything we want. If that means, like my dad, who I didn't grow up with, worked for Pacific Bell in Southern California, almost his entire working career until he died. If that's what he wants to do in the world, 100% we need that, and hats off and mad respect for that, versus if you want to be someone that's literally going to change the world in some way, then mad respect for that. Everyone brings something different. I know very clearly what my talents are, and they're very few, and I know very clearly what most of them are not, but thank goodness I have amazing people that'll come around and fill those voids.
Man, that's awesome, and the wonderful story too, because you came from, I don't like to say people have rough past. You came from a humble beginning to a business owner to now with the vision of changing the world for. And the thing is, I don't know if you understand. You probably do understand because you got the vision. But this is changing not only the lives of people that are affected by COVID, but it's affecting the children, because the children are growing up. They're playing Fortnite, and they're seeing this man that's giving them an outlet, giving them a place where they can feel accepted and they can actually make a living off of something that you're doing. So it's great, and I have a lot of respect for that and respect for you, because that gives something for my stepdaughter to see, not only me, because they want to see someone else that's other than the person that's raising them, and that's you. You're the man on the mountain right now.
Well, I don't know about that. I appreciate that very much. Thank you. And it's very gratifying to know that I can have an impact in some way. It's not hard to figure out. It's the problem since I'm the age of parent. I've raised my wife, like I said, my wife and I have raised, all of our kids are adult kids now. It's not hard for me to understand that my generation, a lot of people, it's not, gaming's always been a combative, thing for most people growing up. Take the trash out, get a life, do your homework, you're late for work, you're not spending time with me, all those things. It's why I actually created a formula for how to know how to manage that time. It's so the conflict or the difficulty right now is for the world to understand. If I say to someone, hey, you need to be a pro tennis player, right? Well, the steps involved from the time you're very young and the academies you can join and being part of school programs or scholarships or whatnot. If someone says, I want to be a professional coach in esports, no one knows. Like, there's nothing to get your arms around and squeeze and say, oh, yeah, I've seen people do that, number one. Number two, I see how you're going to do it. All that people see in this kind of myth of what's going on is a lot of, oh, well, Ninja made this and Tim the Tapman does that. And Double Lift has this, it's like, okay, that's great, but how do you get there? And so all I'm doing is satisfying the needs of parents at one end, or the adults or people that say, this can't be real. And I'm saying it absolutely is real. And number two, I'm going to help you understand that there's a path to get there. And the other side of it, from the people that want it, I'm going to validate it and say, yeah, everything that you have seen and felt as you've watched content creators, especially people that are under the age of, let's say, 25, who have grown up around watching YouTubers and social media influencers and gamers and people that are making money doing something they love. I'm saying, okay, now it is valid, it is legit, and we're gonna take you and how to get there so that you can go to a parent or a friend or a family member and say, here's my objective, here's people that have done it, here's how you do it, and here's my plan in working with you to get there. And that being the case, all it does, like I said, it just unlocks people's excitement. It quells the frustration, because now they have someone that says, absolutely, let's do this. But not just absolutely, let's do this. Absolutely, let's do this together in the right way, in a process that will deliver the results of whatever your personal objective is. So, it's like CrossFit is not science, right? They didn't do anything. A CrossFit workout is nothing unique. Deadlifts and handstand push-ups, and you run and you throw whatever. There's nothing unique. But the way in which it was all put together, it has to deliver results. It has to be community based. There has to be a culture around it, and it has, it's that magic. It just unleashed a lot of people's frustrations with spending a lot of money with trainers and doing the same old, I'm doing back and buys, today or whatever, not getting the results they wanted. Well, CrossFit delivered results in a community way, in a way that was incredibly entertaining. If you have any competitive spirit about you, it unlocked a lot of people's frustrations and the limits that held them from doing more. And that's all that we're going to do here with Delta V Esports and everything that we have going on.
Yeah, that's awesome. I got two last things. One, we actually just got rated. Everyone here, this is Street Talkeater. This is the man, the myth, the legend.
I don't know about that yet.
Hey, legends are always a growing part of the world, so it's nice that we're able to chat with one right now. So, and then secondly, there was one of your streams that stuck out to me that I actually took to heart, and it's the branding. It's because you also was talking about all these people that cuss and go crazy on these streams, and you're like, that's not really so much that you should be able to be focusing on, because you should be focusing on branding. How can you be branded? And if you're like this belligerent person, how can you brand that to this person that's professional and entertaining and informative? So if you can give me a little bit of advice, that's something that I'm working on, or any other streamer, how would you give them advice about branding?
Well, so branding is everything. And I would say that if you really want a lot of in-depth insight into branding, go consume a bunch of Gary Vaynerchuk stuff about branding. But even before I ever knew he existed, branding's always been the main thing for me. And I mean that this way. Look, if you want to be a vulgar, language, toxic kind of person in your environment, whether you stream or you're on a team or you play with buddies or whatever, completely up to you. 100% do it. But if you want to be a person that is brandable to big level brands that are pouring in to the scene, whether it's Red Bull or Nabisco or, whatever it might be, then you have to treat it more professionally. But here are the two things, and we had this discussion a little bit this morning. Toxic behavior in vulgarity and all the kinds of things that would go along with that are quantitatively measurable. In other words, you can quantify the net negative result in performance. If you're a player who's very toxic, it diminishes your performance. If you are a streamer that's constantly negative and toxic, you can have an audience. And however, the overall vibe doesn't ever last very long unless you're just more toxic or more vulgar. So if you want to do that privately, 100%. But I always use the example, LeBron James isn't going to show up at a press conference and be dropping F-bombs and being toxic and vulgar, because he has a responsibility of a level of professionalism to his team, to his contract, to the sponsors, to the venue he's at, whatever it is. All I'm saying in the world of gaming and esports is, if you want to be marketable, you have to build a brand based on something. I think, I don't think, I 100% know. We have to elevate our standard of behavior at a professional way. And then what brands you build around. It's so funny because I'm telling you, every day, almost every day, when people say, so Delta V Esports has a code of conduct where it's actually influencing the people here that we're doing now at the Esports Stadium, Arlington. Anytime I've ever been around someone and I say, hey, listen, code of conduct, let's just, let's be more professional. They all thank me. like everyone says, yeah, I actually feel better. I actually am liking this better. I actually, I'm playing better. Um, Outside of the opportunities for big brand awareness and big sponsors and things, it doesn't matter. You can be what you want privately, but if you want to elevate because there's a lot of people want to spend a lot of money in gaming and esports right now. And if you want a piece of that, then you just have to elevate your game. We just have to elevate the professional standard.
Man, that's all facts, and I love every word of that because that's what I'm working on right now, man. Branding, and I'm following your lead, man. I'm taking the blueprint and making it my own as well. And I'll be seeing you very soon in that stadium, man.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, bring the king and the legend together. All right, so that's all we're gonna have right now, and I appreciate everyone dropping in. If you can go ahead and follow Street Taco Eater on Twitch, TikTok, anywhere, all of it, Instagram, all the social medias. And Street, man, I appreciate you dropping in and giving me the chance to speak to you. Loving every second of it.
Anytime you need something from me, if it works in the schedule, I'm here for you, brother. I appreciate what you're doing. I need you to understand, and you've seen enough of my content, anyone to understand that all I'm trying to do is get you to understand how much value you have to everything that we're doing in moving esports and gaming to the center stage of world attention and admiration. It's not me. It's getting you to, because what you're bringing, the stuff you're doing is amazing, awesome. Everyone's input is valuable. It's critical that you're here. So hats off to you. Mad respect for what you're doing as well.
Man, I appreciate it. Just letting you know that everyone in the chat saying thank you for the insightful conversation, and everyone's loving it, man.
Awesome. You're so welcome. Much more to come.
All right. Talk to you later, man.
All right. We'll see you.